Aloha! Welcome to A Course in Miracles, the workbook for students. We're on Lesson 97, I Am Spirit. Today's idea identifies you with your one self. And we've been talking about the self versus the ego, and like how yesterday's lesson was about how we often see ourselves as like two selves, one warring against the other, a good self and a bad self, or body and a spirit. But we learned that yesterday the Course doesn't really teach that we are two selves, but it teaches we are one self. And the other self, the ego, isn't real. So we're not split into two selves. We are one self, according to the Course. And that self we're being taught is spirit. So spirit, our identity, our one self, accepts no split identity, nor does it try to weave opposing factors into unity. It simply states the truth. Practice this truth today as often as you can, for it will bring your mind from conflict to the quiet fields of peace. No chill of fear can enter, for your mind has been absolved from madness, letting go illusions of a split identity. And I was always taught that we are body, soul, and spirit. And the Course really doesn't teach that. It teaches, we're going to see, that we are spirit. So let's look a little further. We state again the truth about yourself, the Holy Son of God. Now, when it says Son of God, feel free to say Daughter of God if you want to, because the Course only uses the term son. There's no feminine articles or pronouns in the whole Course of Miracles. And there's a lot of different thoughts on that. I don't know why. I guess it's kind of written in the language of the Bible, which you don't really find that in the Bible. But in other literature that's similar to A Course in Miracles, for example, in Gnostic literature, you do find the feminine. And I think it's absolutely fine if you want to substitute like Sophia for the Holy Spirit, or the feminine part of God. But in reality, these are all just symbols. Father, son, mother, daughter, they're all just symbols. So you can use the symbols that you want to use, because the symbols are just they just point to reality. The reality is the important thing. So if you want to use the term Daughter of God, go right ahead. I think it's perfectly fine and works absolutely fine. So we can say the Holy Daughter of God, who rests in you, whose mind has been restored to sanity. You are the Spirit, lovingly endowed with all your Father's love, or you can say all your mother's love, and peace and joy. So you are the Spirit which completes Himself and shares His function as Creator. He is with you always, as you are with him. So today, we're going to try to bring reality still closer to our minds. Each time we practice, awareness is brought a little nearer, at least. Sometimes 1,000 years or more are saved. The minutes which you give are multiplied over and over, for the miracle makes use of time, but it's not ruled by it. And in the text, it says the miracle sort of collapses time. So if you would normally have to go through this length of time to become aware maybe of who your true self is, then the miracle collapses that time. So instead of, it makes use of time. In other words, we are in time and aware of time, but all these things that we're talking about are outside of time. But since we're in time, the Holy Spirit makes use of time, and the only use of time is really to get to know ourselves. So that's what we're using time for. And so the miracle collapses that time, and every instant that we spend doing these workbook lessons is collapsing that time and bringing the awareness of ourself closer and closer. Salvation is a miracle, the first miracle and the last, the first that is the last, for it is one. You are the Spirit in whose mind abides the miracle, in which all time stands still. The miracle in which a minute spent in using these ideas becomes a time that has no limit and has no end. So basically, it's encouraging us that every moment that we spend in these meditative times of really looking within, quieting ourselves, it's collapsing time and bringing the reality of our true self closer and closer to us. So not a moment is wasted. So basically, it's encouraging us to not, forget about spending if it's going to be the first 5 minutes of each hour. If we really realized how much closer we are coming to the truth, and that's what it's trying to explain to us, we would not miss every opportunity to spend looking and seeking for our true self, which is within us. Give then these minutes willingly and count on him who promised to lay timelessness beside them. He will offer all his strength to every little effort that we make. So we give him the minutes which he needs today to help us understand with him that we are the Spirit that abides in him, in God. And and the Spirit that calls through His voice, the Holy Spirit, to every living thing, and offers His sight to everyone who asks, and replaces error with the simple truth. So the Holy Spirit will be glad to take 5 minutes of each hour from your hands and carry them around this aching world where pain and misery appear to rule. And so you notice here that when it speaks about the world, it speaks of it in the sense of not like a wonderful, beautiful world, although we can have beautiful times and really see the beauty, especially once the more we are awake, and the more that we are not, our minds are not filled with guilt, the more beauty we're going to see, and the more loveliness and the more love we're going to see. But seemingly to the ego, it is a world where pain and misery appear to rule. So it appears like they're ruling. So He will not overlook one open mind that will accept the healing gifts they bring, and He will lay them everywhere He knows they will be welcome, and they will increase in healing power each time someone accepts them as His thought and uses them to heal. And we're the result of that. I mean, the Holy Spirit is doing that in our lives. And as we spend this time with the Holy Spirit and allow Him to use us, and that love and that peace and that joy goes out from us, and the Holy Spirit takes the gifts that we give Him in those 5-minute periods, and He disperses them out as healing to other minds in the world. And that's how we become the saviors of the world. Thus will each give to Him the gift of time, these 5 minutes, be multiplied 1,000-fold and tens of thousands more. And when it is returned to you, because it always comes back, casting our bread upon the water and it's returning to us, it will surpass in might the little gift that you gave, as much as does the radiance of the sun outshine the tiny gleam a firefly makes an uncertain moment, and then it goes out. So we're like the little firefly, and we can give Him this little 5 minutes, and He takes it back and turns it into the sun by the time it comes back to us. That's sort of like the picture here. The steady brilliance of this light remains and leads you out of darkness, nor will you be able to forget the way again. Wonderful, wonderful. Begin these happy exercises with the words the Holy Spirit speaks to you, and let them echo around the world through Him. Spirit am I. Here's what we're going to use, this phrase. I'm going to say daughter of God. Spirit am I, a holy daughter of God, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole, free to give and free to save the world. So express through you, the Holy Spirit will accept this gift that you received of Him, increase its power, and give it back to you. Offer each practice period today gladly to Him, and He will speak to you, reminding you that you are spirit, one with Him and God, your brothers and yourself. Listen for His assurance every time you speak the words He offers you today, and let Him tell your mind that they are true. Use them against temptation and escape its sorry consequences if you yield to the belief that you are something else. The Holy Spirit gives you peace today. Receive His words and offer them to Him. So, I am Spirit, the Holy Son of God. And I hope, and my prayer is, that today you and I will begin to experience a knowing of our self more than ever before as spirit. What does it really mean? I am spirit. Not a body, not an ego. I am spirit. So that's today's lesson. Mahalo for spending this time with me, and I will see you tomorrow.